Well, good morning. Morning. My name is Andy. I'm one of the pastors here. This is Mike, one of the other pastors here. This morning, Mike's going to be bringing the word in just a few moments. Are you excited this morning for what God is doing in our land? Come on, church. Isn't it good? And I wanted to take a quick moment this morning and just let you know where we stand. Many have asked me this week, and many have asked already this morning, where we are at or how I feel about the Asbury revivals and what's going on in our colleges. And I don't know if you know this or not, but it is actually spreading into churches and youth groups. God is doing something in the younger generation in our nation right now, and he is setting them on fire. So let's give God some praise for that. Amen. And I truly believe it for us as a church, we need to take notice, and that's what we're doing. We're taking notice. I am praying, I'm seeking the Lord for us right now. Whenever the Lord burns as brightly as he is burning right now, you can't help but take notice. I call it a bonfire. Remember a few weeks ago, I talked about the fact that there are bonfires, campfires, and candle fires. And there is a bonfire burning in our nation right now. And so I think it would be prudent of us to take notice of what's going on. And the Lord has impressed upon me this week, more so than probably any other week, that he wants to take us into a moment, a time, a season of prayer. And so Mike is leading us into the Word this morning and going to position us in a place of looking at our walk, defining our walk. He's coming from Ephesians chapter 5, and he is going to enter us into, or I believe position us into this place. I want to say it's the front porch. As we were worshiping, the Lord gave me this vision of us sitting on a front porch and the door is slowly opening. And then coming in the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be teaching on prayer. And I'm literally titled it, Teach Us to Pray. The apostles came to Jesus at one moment and said, teach us to pray. And then obvious that they asked him that because they saw him praying. They saw him coming out of his moments with his heavenly Father, and they wanted what he had. And there must have been a difference in him. As he came back out of those moments, they must have sensed something, or they must have seen that he had been re-energized and rejuvenated, and they wanted that. And so they asked him, and that's what I desire for us, is that we are rejuvenated, we are re-inspired, we are refilled, we are saved in the moments to come. And so I have some homework for you this morning that I want you to begin to pray with me, if you would, over the course of the next 3 to 4 weeks. So if you would, write this chapter down. It's a short chapter in the book of Psalms, and it's simply Psalm chapter 61. It's a psalm that I am praying over myself. I'm praying it over my family, and I'm praying it over you. We prayed over it as a prayer team, as a worship team, as pastors this morning. And as you pray this psalm, I don't want you just to read it. I'd love for you to memorize it. I'm trying to memorize it myself to place it in my heart. But I want you to personalize it. And this is what I mean. It's a prayer of David. And at some point in time, David positioned himself and he prayed this out to God. And it just says simply, and like I said, as I pray it, you'll notice I take it and I individualize it to myself. I pray it over myself as David prayed it over himself. Starting with verse 1, let's all pray. Hear my cry, O God, and listen to my prayer. From the ends of the earth I call to you. I call as my heart grows faint. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. For you have been my refuge, a strong tower against the foe. I long to dwell in your tent forever and take refuge in the shelter of your wings. For you, God, have heard my vows. You have given me the heritage of those who fear your name. Increase the days of my life, the years of my life for many generations. May my life influence many generations for you. May I be enthroned in your presence, O Lord, forever. Appoint your love and your faithfulness to protect me. For then I will ever sing in your praises. For then will I ever sing the praise of your name and fulfill the vows of my day. Would you pray with me as I pray for Mike? Father God, I thank you for the word that you've laid on Mike's heart. I thank you, Father, for Ephesians chapter 5. And I thank you, Father, for laying it on Paul's heart to write it out, and for the years of continuing to sanctify your word and keep it holy so that we would have it today. And I pray that as Mike preaches it, your anointing would be upon him. It would come forth through your word, and that it would not return void. I pray that every word that he speaks would be ordered by you, and that nothing would be said that is not of you. Holy Spirit, lead and guide. Open our hearts to receive today. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Thank you, Mike.
All righty. Well, it was brought to my attention that behind me is a clock. So I'm going to tell you that it's 40 minutes fast. All right? So, well, good morning. My name's Mike. One of the pastors here. I get to hang out with the kids. I get to hang out with the youth. And I've been able to do it for a long time. And I've got to serve with Andy for a long time. And I love what I get to do. And there's certain times that things just get super passionate for me, super exciting. I said I'm not going to cry today, so I'm not going to cry today, but nobody's going to believe that either. So that's kind of like me getting done before 11:15. It's just not going to happen, so get over it. And why I say that is I'm going to do a little crowd participation here real quick. All right, I need all of students that are in whatever to college, just stand up real quick. If you are from however young, that means this whole front row except Isaac. You can't stand up, Isaac. All right, just stand up. I just want everybody that's in school, that's in college, whatever. All right, I just want you to take a peek. All right, you guys can go ahead and have a seat. And I say that for this reason. So Wednesday night we had an unbelievable night, and I shared this in our prayer time. We had a night at youth that was like no other. It was neat to be a part of. It was neat to be part of it and then stand back and watch. And we challenged our students. And I gave them, I promise guys I'm not reading these. All right. I gave them index cards. And these are index cards, all of these from our students. And so I asked them two different questions. I asked them, what do you want to know? And what I meant by that was, what do you want to know about your walk? What do you want to know about the Bible? What do we want to know about our faith? And write it down. And so they took some time and they wrote it down. We did a little bit of worship. And it led to the next card. And they asked if they could write on more than one. I said, yeah, you can write on more than one. You can write on the back. You can whatever. And so I asked him, I said, what is it that's keeping you from that next level with God? What is holding you back? And they wrote it down. And I sat Thursday in my office and I read these. And why I say that is church, our students have questions about this. Our students are struggling with life nonstop. Things that we never imagined as we grew up. And we hear about things. Unbelievable things. Things that did not surprise me. I've served and led ministry for many, many years, and I've watched them progress, and I've watched them get worse and worse, younger and younger. And I heard things Wednesday that just blew my mind from students that things were going on. So here's the thing about that is me, my wife, Isaac, Courtney, we can't do this all on a Wednesday night in 2 hours. We can't. You know, and I think doing ministry, it's been long enough that we've watched parents drop off kids on a Wednesday and almost go fix them. Because I don't have time, I don't want to. You know, and so what is that like? You know, what does that look like for us? You know, how do we talk with our kids? How do we talk to our kids about this? About everything that's in here? And some of it starts out in Ephesians 5. Starting in verse 1, it says, imitate God, therefore, in everything you do, because you are his dear children, live a life filled with love, following the example of Christ. He loved us and offered himself as a sacrifice for us, a pleasing aroma to God. Imitate God. It doesn't seem too hard. And so what does that look like? And one of the things I said Wednesday night is I told him, I'm tired of doing church. And what I meant by that is I'm tired of just walking in. And this is just years of just watching church and being at church. I'm tired of just walking in and just singing the songs. I'm tired of just sitting here and just sitting here to be here. And I tell our students, I say, why are you here? I'm not saying get out of here, but why are we here? Why are we here on a Sunday? Why do we come? Do we come because it's just what we've done? Or do we come to get fed? Wednesday night, are kids coming just to come? Because you know what? This is just my parents say I got to go. And so they bring them, and maybe we don't want to be that example, or we don't want to accept that example. But it goes on, and verse 3. Let there be no sexual immorality, impurity, or greed among you. Such sins have no place among God's people. Obscene stories, foolish talk, and coarse jokes, these are not for you. Instead, let there be thankfulness to God. You can be sure that no immoral, impure, or greedy person will inherit the kingdom of Christ and of God. For a greedy person is an idolater, worshiping the things of this world. And we get consumed by everything around us going on. So I ask this question: who is the real you, and what kind of life are you living? What does that look like? How's your walk? And it doesn't matter what Dr. Phil says, all right? Because I know a lot of people go to whatever for help. And a lot of times the last thing we do maybe is pray about it. The last thing we do is maybe we come to church because it's just what we do. What is your walk in this world? I think we walk through life and we couldn't care less at times about what God thinks of us. I'm not worried about it. I don't care. Because we're so stuck in going through these motions. We're not digging into God's word. We're not seeing what Paul is laying out right in front of us and how we should be and how we shouldn't be, the things that we should avoid. Because they look so good. They taste so good. They smell so good. They feel so good. So if that's the case, then we're really not digging into here, because what's in here smells good, tastes good, feels good, is amazing. But yet we just sit it on our nightstand. One of the things I challenged our students with a few weeks ago is I said it was time to reset. And so I said, for some of you guys, what I need you guys to do is I just need you guys to find your Bible, because you have no idea where it is. And that was the start. I think it doesn't just apply to our students. I think it applies to church in general is, hey, where's your Bible? If we got company coming over, maybe it's sitting on, oh man, we got people coming over, let me dust this thing off. I got to let them know. Because I talk the talk, I don't walk the walk. And that's so much it, do we walk this walk? What does our walk look like? I can sit and talk with the best of them. You're like, Mike, talk? Really? Yes, I can talk. Okay, absolutely, 100%. So I do fantasy sports every year. I do fantasy football every year. I lose pretty much every year. But man, I will talk up like I have the best team around. It's amazing. And then I lose all the time. And so yeah, we do all this talking, and it's like, man, I got this guy, I got this guy in the third round, I got this guy in the fifth round, I got this guy. Nobody even was paying attention to this guy. And then it's time for the the show. You know, we can sit here and talk about that. We watched the Super Bowl, and yeah, we can sit and watch the Super Bowl, and we could, oh man, I don't know why he did that. Well, what? I wouldn't have done that. Really? Let's put you on the field and let's see what happens. You know, and so I think we walk through life sitting on the bench, ready to go. It's like, all right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And then it comes time to do that. Well, no, I can't do that. Why? Because I'm uncomfortable, because I don't want to. You know, I have dabbled in the Uber world. I've shared that with you guys before. At different times, I've done it for different reasons, whatever it is. I think deep down I enjoy the conversations. And I enjoy that opportunity where somebody goes, I know this isn't your job. You know, this isn't your real job. I was like, no, I guess you can say that. It's like, what do you do? It's, oh, are you ready for this? I'm a youth pastor. What? And then, like I've shared before, it goes one of two ways. The conversation's done. We're done talking. All right, they're ready to get out. Hey, just drop me off here. Or what church, this. We have opportunities. I have an opportunity to walk the walk where I can sit here and I can say, nope, this is my full-time job. Nope, I do this. I talk. I teach. Very easy to say something like that. Well, I'm not really lying. I'm just... But no, I take every last opportunity to go, no, I'm a pastor. I'm a youth pastor. I'm a kids pastor. Well, what does that mean? Wow, and the conversations that come are unbelievable. But God gives us some principles of our walk in this world. And that is to imitate God and to stay clean. Very simple. Imitate God and stay clean. Be imitators of God. And you think about that, and how intimidating is that? Wow, that's some big shoes to fill. I don't know if I can do this. It's like, wow, I woke up. Oh, yeah, 5 minutes, I'm up. Oh, I messed up. Oh, man, I shouldn't have done that. You know, maybe when it comes to being like God or imitating God, we realize that we fall very, very short. And so we stop. We give up. We say, you know what? Someone else is going to deal with this. I'll send my kid here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do all these things. You know, and we think about all this stuff. You know, and you think and you evaluate your life, and maybe we ask ourselves or ask you, when was the last time that we fell on our face? Was it this morning? Was it last night? And I say that as in a way of, when did we mess up last? You know what? Man, I missed it. I missed the mark. I missed the opportunity. When did that happen last? This morning? When we walked in the door? Last night? Last week? I don't know. Romans 3:23, for all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. You know, and I am painfully aware of this scriptural truth right here. I've messed up. I know it. I have sinned. And if we're not aware of this verse, then I think what happens is we think too highly of ourselves, and when we get that way, we have a hard time imitating God. Because I'm all that. I can look good, man. I can put on a good show. I can wear a nice new shirt for you guys. I can do all these things and talk the talk. I can talk it up real good. There's a lot of people that can. I'm sure we've come into contact and had interactions with people that can talk the talk. Wow, man, they must really love Jesus because of this. They look the part. They fit the part. You know, and so are we just walking through life just talking a good game? Or are we actually in there? So what does that look like? You know, if we're ready to do what God has asked and we're to be imitators of God, then what do? How do we do that? Well, we can love people. Really? Everyone? Do I have? Yeah. I started watching a new show. Maybe some of you guys have seen this. I don't know. Called New Amsterdam. And so there's this guy that's the new medical director. His name is Max Goodwin. And he comes in and he is shaking things up, firing people left and right. It's like, whoa, this is awesome. And then he's asking everybody, and his go-to phrase is, how can I help? He's walking along, and he sees this homeless woman sitting on the street, and he's jogging by, and he's looking back, and I can see it, and it's like, wow, I need to do something. And so he goes back, and he looks, and he's like, hey, you need this? I'm a doctor right over here. No, leave me alone, leave me alone. So he goes on, and he goes over to the hospital, and he gets this stuff, and he comes back, and he's talking with her, and he's bandaging her up. He's helping her. She's starting to trust him, and she looks at him and says, can you help my brother? And he's like, I have so many people over here that I need to help. And so he's walking away, and then all of a sudden you see the camera do something different, and he stops, and he stands right in front of her and says, how can I help? And shouldn't that be us as a church? How can I help? What can I do? That it's not the same people doing the same things. I counted the cars this morning that were in there setting up. You know, I know what Wednesday night looks like. I know what those 3 portables look like on a Sunday morning. I don't want to ask the same people to do it every single week. So as a church, our attitude should be, how can I help? Not just for kids, not just for youth, but for greeting, for whatever. I need to be very, very careful today. Because when I get in Ephesians, I get excited, I get passionate about one of the things I said to the kids Wednesday is, man, this Wednesday and Sunday should be our Super Bowl every week. But yet, I guess I got to go to church today because somebody's going to be there. I got to go, well, I guess I got to sing today. I guess I got to, I don't know. Why has it become that? Have we lost that love? Have we lost that desire and that passion to be imitators of Christ? Have we lost that? And if we've lost that, then what are our expectations for our next generation? They shouldn't be very high if we've just kind of checked out and we're just doing church. We're just rolling through. Well, I'm here. Hey, did everybody see me? Because I was here today. Don't be there. Romans 12:3. For by the grace given me, I say to every one of you, do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment in accordance with the measure of faith God has given you. Don't think of yourself more highly than you ought. Amplified Bible says it this way: don't have an exaggerated opinion of your own importance. You know, and who does that? Well, you look back, Muhammad Ali was one, right? I am the greatest. And I think some of us walk around life going, you know what? I am the man. Why? Why are you the man? Well, look where I live. Look what I drive. Look what I wear. First Peter 5:5 says, God opposes the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. We will never be what God wants us to be until we admit that we are unclean, or we admit that we're not where we should be with God. And I think if we really evaluate ourselves, we're going to really see that we're not where we should be with God. And we're not giving God enough time. We're not walking the walk. We're just going through life and we're just talking a good game. We're talking the talk. Maybe we need to walk the talk is what we need to do. We talk about all this stuff. Well, let's go walk it. Let's go do it. You know, we started out the year and I challenged our students to do something different. Again, some of you guys need to find your Bible, figure out where it is. Maybe it's praying for somebody. Yeah, but do I have to? Yeah, you do. Really should. Well, yeah, but whatever. And so when I say talk the talk, here is my, you want to call it a pet peeve, and I shared this with my wife. I think I shared it on Wednesday when we were talking to the students. One of the things that really gets me going, it's just I process it a little bit. When I get on social media and I see something going on with somebody's struggling, somebody's in the hospital, all this is going on, and I hear people praying for you, praying for you, praying for you, praying for you. And then I think, did they? Did they? Did they? Did they? Did they? Did they? You know, I had someone come up to me this week and talking through just life that was going on. And they're like, hey, just pray for me. And so I stopped and I prayed right there because I know how easy it is to, you know what, I'll be praying for you. And then we get busy with life because we got all this other stuff going on and we forget about it. And so don't just say you're going to pray, actually do it. And the best chance and the best way to do it is to stop and pray right then. And if you're driving, it's okay. You don't have to close your eyes. You can pray and drive 100%. It's okay. It's not an excuse. But what should be our ultimate goal in life? It's our ultimate goal in life to, hey, Mike, it's getting 11:15. Knock it off. Hey, it's getting 11:30. Knock it off. We got places to be. You know, they alluded to that. I don't know if it was Roger or Andy. It's like, you know what? Everything on a Sunday should take second place. But a lot of times, it doesn't. Because I got things to do. I got to get to Longhorn. I got to get to Geckos before Bethel does or before whatever. It's just the way it is. I had an interesting conversation this last week. And I was at a local education establishment, let's just put it that way. And I was I was making sure that everybody was going to youth group. You going to youth group? You going to youth group? You going to youth group? Asking half of these kids, I knew where they were going. Some of them weren't here. Some of them were to another Jesus establishment, let's put it that way. All right, and so I was like, you going? No. Why? I live in Nokomis. Well, what if we come get you? You just coming up with something. And so I had this interaction, and I had someone look at me and go, hey, this is our turf. Oh, really? No, this is this church's turf. Really? Oh, okay. All right. Shouldn't our goal be to imitate Christ? One of the things I say to the kids over and over, I don't care where you go to youth group. I don't care where you go to church on Sunday. As long as you're going, as long as you're connecting, as long as you're building your relationship. You know, it should be no different for us. It's like, you know, maybe I want to go over here this Sunday because I want to hear Sean preach. I want to go over here because I want to hear Vern preach. That's okay. And you know what? As a church, we shouldn't be, really? You went there? Why? When is church and when is youth group become a competition? Oh, it is. Absolutely, 100% it is. And it drives me nuts. It really does. That is not imitating what Christ, you know what? Hey, you're going? Yeah! That's the way it should be. It should be an excitement. But we've gotten somewhere out of whack. And I think it's that part of we're just doing church. We're just showing up, and it's like, well, you know what? Instead of really digging into the Word, let me think, wow, I'm a little warm in here. I'm a little cold. It's too loud. It's too hot. And I'm not just saying it here. All right, it's everywhere. Really? Is that where your focus is? Man, you've got something messed up. Is that what we're focusing on? Well, we bring a jacket, bring shorts. Figure it out. If I could wear shorts and flip-flops on a Sunday, 100% I would. But if I did that, guess what would happen? Oh, he wore shorts. It's just all this different thing that takes our focus off being imitators of Christ and loving one another. First John 4, verse 7 and 8 says, "Dear friends, let us love one another. From love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love." You know, wherever Jesus went, he demonstrated love to hurting, harassed, helpless people. You know, and in fact, I think he demonstrated love to all people even when they didn't know they were in trouble. You know, and how hard is it for us to do that? How hard is it for us to show love? It's like, wow. It is for me at different times with different people. 100%. I know it is for all of us. It's like, wow, I don't want to. I had a conversation recently, and I was talking with a couple different people. I knew that I needed to pray for somebody. I really knew I needed to, and I was like, I can't. I'm struggling with this. Isn't that us a lot? We struggle with just being those imitators. You know, our walk in this world should be and must be a walk of loving others like Jesus did. And that's praying and stopping and saying, how can I help? What can I do? I can probably help some way, but I'm going to just, you know what? I don't have time because I got to get here. I got to do this. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll leave it for the next guy. Somebody will come along. That's how we go through life. We're like that, like the backup guy on the bench, I guess. That's how we go through life. We live in this unclean world, but we're supposed to keep ourselves as clean as possible. Romans 12:2, "Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Everything for us to have an amazing life is right here. Right in our hands. Some of us, it's even closer because maybe we don't have our Bible with us, but we have our phone, and it's real easy to put the Bible app on there. But yet it's hard. God builds broken people down into something special, and that's into saved and serving people. And so are we helping others in a way that we can? Are we serving others in a way that we can? And what does that look like? Well, serving others means we have to sacrifice something, right? Probably time, maybe a little bit of effort, I guess. God wants us to walk with Him in this world, and are we willing to do that? Are we willing to walk the walk that God has set out for us? You know, I really want us to think. You know, we hear, you know, Andy, we hear Roger, we hear Dave. up here on stage, and then we hear about these amazing things that are going on with this generation that is rising up and God is stirring. Does that excite us? Or does it because if it doesn't excite you, something's not right. It really isn't. We sit here and, I could go through these cards, every single one of them, but I told the kids that I was going to read them and our leaders were going to read them and we were going to pray for them. And that's what we're going to do. But there's a lot of cards here. There's a lot of questions that the generation that comes up want to know. And they want to know, one reason, because they don't know how they're supposed to do this. Well, this is just always how it's been done. Our students in this next generation needs to be raised up, not as how mom and dad did it. That's just going through the motions. They're their mom and dad's Christian. They need to develop their relationship with Christ. They need to be and imitate Christ the way they want to and the way they can. Wednesday night we had kids on their knees giving everything to God. We had kids crying that they were that excited about what God is doing. I told them, I said, express yourself how you want to express yourself. And they did. They said it was a Wednesday that I've never seen. What keeps us, what holds us back from giving everything to God? It's probably no different for us than it is for the students. Well, there's people watching. I can't do that. I can't sit in the front because everybody can see what I'm doing. Who cares? If that's your focus, something's off. Your focus in worship and on a Sunday morning should be between you and God and you and God's word, not about what anybody else is doing. You walk your own walk, not somebody else's walk. You walk the walk that God has set out in front of you, and to each one of us, it's a little bit different. But maybe today it's an opportunity where we say, you know what? Today I'm going to walk the walk. I'm not just going to talk about it. I'm going to do it. I've talked about it long enough. I'm tired of talking about it, and now I'm going to do something about it. Because I think a lot of times we've just gone through life just thinking about it. We aren't a Christian just because we claim to be. We aren't a Christian just because we show up on a Sunday morning. We're not a Christian just because we spend time in worship. We're not Christians just because we have a bumper sticker on our car that says, I'm a Christian. Christians are those who actually live according to God's will, who will follow Jesus. So it doesn't matter what you say, it matters what you do. It's our actions that say so much. And so when we show up, wherever we show up, what are we doing? How are we acting? What are our kids seeing? Because we all know that our kids mimic what we do. And so if we're doing nothing, they're doing nothing. If we're just talking, oh man, they're going to be some good talkers. And they're going to do nothing with it. Imagine serving, and imagine serving with your kids next to you. That was the one thing that we started doing when we got into youth ministry with Andy and Danielle. We had our two older kids. We had Brittany and Julia. And I was like, well, I guess they're coming. And they came with us. Had some amazing babysitters out of that. But we got to stop making excuses of, well, I can't because this. You know what? I bet you can find time. I bet you can figure it out if you really, really try. Being a believer means more than posting spiritual quotes or Bible verses to Facebook. It's more than that. You know, it's more than just knowing the lingo. And it's more than just a claim. Being a believer means we do the will of the Father, what He's laid out for us. You know what? He said I'm supposed to do this. I need to go do it. I need to go do it. And so, what does all that look like, and how do we put it all together? How do we do all this stuff? First thing we need to do is to know. You must know about Jesus in order to love and walk in a love that imitates Him. Therefore, we need to do all that we can to know Jesus. Everything. And for some of us, we're in different places in that walk. And so for some of us, it's opening up our Bible. For some of us, maybe it's consistency. Do we want to grow in love? If we want to grow in love, then we need to be a better imitator of God. Not faking it till you making it, all right? Not that kind of imitator of God. We got that dialed in, all right? We do. Devote yourself to prayerful prayer. Second thing we need to do is we need to walk. The command here is to daily walk, to practice, to do the things that love requires. If we find ourselves loving others, then that strengthens our ability to love. It just continues to grow. You know, maybe we need to start small. Maybe we just need to pray for others. You know, we did that. It was, we got to do something different. It's okay. We're allowed to pray for one another. I love that. We get to put our hand next to somebody and pray for them. That's a start. You know, how can we better love and serve the church who has lost their job for whatever reason? Or have we taken the time to talk to our neighbor? Have we taken the time to invite somebody to church? Oh, no, I don't want to be that neighbor on the street. Oh, don't talk to that guy. Don't open the door when he comes, because that's what we get afraid of. So take the steps and start walking, and don't stop when we start walking. The last thing is to rest. Paul ends verse 2 by reminding us that Christ's sacrifice on our behalf was a fragrant offering to God. Which means God is pleased with you because of what Jesus has done. No one's walk is perfect. None of our walks are perfect. We know this. We all trip, we all stumble, and we do it a whole bunch of times in a whole bunch of ways. But as Christians, we get back up. And this is what it means to repent daily. And God, I'm sorry, I messed up. And are we doing that? Are we spending time with God going, you know what, God, I really messed up today. Today was a bad day. I don't know. That's up to you. You know, we need to rest on God's word. We need to rest in His truth. We need to know Jesus. We need to walk in love, imitating the love of Christ. We need to do this as we rest in Christ. If the worship team wants to come back up. What is our struggle? Why is it so hard for us to be imitators? Because we worry about what everybody thinks. We have this way that we just want to reflect. Is that what concerns us? Do we have hope in Jesus? Or are we just doing church? Like I said before, I'm tired of just doing church. I'm tired of just showing up here on Sunday and just going through the motions. And I'm not saying that, me personally, I don't do that, all right? I do my best not to do that. I love that I get to come here on Sunday mornings. I love that I get to come and set up because I never know what's going to happen at setup. It's awesome. But don't we want the generation that can do some unbelievable things to do unbelievable things? Isn't that what we want? Don't we want this generation that's growing up to be imitators of Christ and to watch as parents, as grandparents, aunts, uncles? You know, if I sat here and I went through all these and I went to every family represented and said, here you go, here's what your kid wants to know, here's what your kid is struggling with, would it blow your mind? Would you be like, wow, I had no idea? It's no different with us. We could probably sit here and I could probably hand out index cards to you guys and say, what do you want to know? Or maybe, how can I help? And I could probably give you an index card and say, what's keeping you from that next step? What is holding us back? And I would probably be just as surprised at the stuff that was written down as what's written here. We need to get back, church, to our first love. We really do. And we've struggled to get there because of this division, because of this competition, because of this, I don't want to help because I don't have time, because I'm very selfish and my time is my time. I don't have time for anything else. You want to do something amazing, you make time. But yet we don't. Why don't we make time? Why can't we just stink and grab the Bible in the morning for 5 minutes? Because we're too stinking lazy. Because I got better things to do. I got to have a second cup of coffee. I got to get to work 10 minutes earlier. We've lost that first love. We need to get back where we have this desire to be imitators of Christ. And what's it going to take for us to do that? That means pouring everything out and giving everything to God. Say, you know what? I'm tired of doing it myself. I want to be like you. That's what I want. Say, no, I find that hope in you and I find that truth in you. So today I simply ask this, are we walking the walk? Do we want to walk the walk? Let's stand and pray. Father God, we stand here today, God, ready to walk that walk that you have laid out in front of us, Father. That today we take time to grab your word and dig into your word and understand what it's like to love like Jesus loved. To set that example for a generation that is starting to get excited about what you have for them. That as a church and that as believers, we can light that fire inside of a generation that is wanting to do some amazing things. So today, God, we have this hope in you. This love for you that burns brighter than ever. That, Father, you set this fire and you get it going, and that it doesn't quit when we walk outside of these doors, that we find opportunities to share with anybody and everyone. We find opportunities to ask how we can help somebody. Whether that's serving, whether that's giving a little bit of our time, whether that's giving a shoulder to cry on or an ear to listen, Father. We just give it all to you, Father. In your name we pray.